Favorite day of the week, and we're going to be playing some blitz chess here on lichess 5+3, the fastest that we do on the stream anyway. It's a little bit of a break from the longer 8-minute plus games we usually play, so if you'd like to challenge me, the time control is 5+3. I don't have my warning there on the screen to remind everybody. Hold on a second. Let me put this back up. The text there, casual 5+3 challenges. Just remember, casual challenges and only 5+3 today. Welcome everyone. We have a lot of challenges. Aldi Stowe, La Valantula, Lawnmower Man. That was, actually saw that movie in the theater based on the Stephen King short story. Bol, Hassan, Alligator, and Sun Manic. Sun Manic is a new account I've never played before. He said, "I love these streams." Sun Manic, do you have another account or something? Because I never noticed you before. All right, welcome everyone. Blue Crow, our moderator, he's not in the list yet. I don't know if he feels like playing today. Bobby Fischer 2. Is that La Valantula? My memory. All right, I guess we're gonna get started. Aldi Stowe 5+3. I have no news to report other than next week, Wednesday, I'm leaving for a tournament. So we're gonna be streaming next week, Monday and Tuesday, and then taking a break for 9 days. We also have a stream on Sunday. Our next stream will actually not be Monday and Tuesday, but Sunday. Sunday we do a simul here on lichess, basically every week, 6:30 p.m. Central European summertime it is now. Blue Crow, have a long night last night. He sounds kind of sad. All right, let's play the Benoni or other fun stuff. Aldi Stowe has played. He has played the Blumenfeld, which I play myself. As far as playing this opening with white, I think I only ever played it once. I played it with white against Josh Friedel. Alright, let's try to take the pawn and see what happens. I think this is more of a critical test than Bishop G5, which was the traditional main line. There are some very interesting moves for white. I mean, I think that even Knight C3 here might be good. This pawn on E6 can be a weakness. Actually, the pawn structure reminds me just a little bit of the note boom variation of the Queen's Gambit. Slav. Need some extra coffee. Yeah, I need some extra coffee too. I still have half my coffee left, but you're making me feel sleepy. Don't say that, man. I feel pretty good today, but Blue Crow making me feel like I'm a little tired. I had a good night's sleep. There's no reason for me not to be full strength, but I am a little slow waking up typically. Queen A5 check. Trying to regain the pawn that way looks kind of artificial. Obviously we can't play Knight C3 because of D4. Birds are singing. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood and all that stuff. Maybe Knight BD2 and just a setup, aiming for a setup based on E4, or this looks kind of like the most simple. In other words, the simplest approach. My personal approach is not to be overly materialistic. People, especially beginners, tend to hang on to material and treat material like it's the most important concept in the game. I don't think so. if you look at the games of some really aggressive players at the top of the chess world, Kasparov, Magnus is not really a good example, but of like dynamic play. He's more technical. But Mamedyarov, what a dynamic player who's constantly sacrificing material. Fischer also very dynamic. I prefer to sacrifice material than to grab material. You know, I'm giving this pawn back on b5. That's why I'm giving this lecture here. We decided just to get the pawn back. Now e4 is a really interesting pawn break here. A little more potent than usual in this position, maybe because of the fork potentially at d6, but this is risky too. I could have just played b3, but I thought it really lets black settle in, so black not that well coordinated here. I mean, the queen on b5 is completely flying outside of the rest of the radar. I mean, it's kind of a weird setup. Black looks a little disorganized. Unprotected bishop on d6, kind of exposed pawn chain that could get, especially e6 can get hit, and he's got unprotected piece on d6. Queen on b5 is vulnerable to attack as well. So you rewatch the Rapid Morozevich Anand 1995. King's Gambit accepted. Hey, random dude I saw on lichess.com. Do you have any tips for absolute beginners? Well, I just gave you one. Material is overrated. You know, I mean, try to play for control of the position, and it's better to actually probably be the one sacrificing material than trying to keep the material. By material, I mean pieces and pawns. But that's just one of many possible suggestions. I don't think that Aldis, though, is a regular Blumenfeld Gambit player. He's got to be in some trouble here. Ooh, this is kind of scary. I just suddenly decided to play knight g5. It's probably good. Yeah. Kind of changing plans, though. I mean, 1 minute I'm on e4, and next minute I'm playing d5. But this is the other weakness, very big weakness in the position. Random dude, look for I'm the random dude. Look for weaknesses in the opponent's position and attack them. Chess position is an organic entity, and everything has to work together. Coordination is the key. All the pieces and all the pawns should work as a kind of unified force. That's far more material than I mean, far more important than like material grabbing a pawn. You don't want to lose coordination of your pieces. Aldis has found the secret move, rook c8. I mean, not only do we have a really good position in general here, but I think we're just pretty far ahead in development as well. I keep forgetting this is a 5-minute game. It's okay. It's kind of a cool title, The Random Dude. Knight e4. Undermining said bishop on d5. Crazy idea, huh? Knight e4, bishop takes e6, knight takes f6, bishop takes f6. It's a good way to like lose the initiative for me. Alright. I had an idea here. Now knight e4, yes. So when the smoke clears, we're up a pawn. We have less weaknesses than black. Just kind of talk to yourself about the position logically. I mean, what's really going on here? This secret to chess, and the most important thing to do, is to be able to evaluate positions. Am I better here? Is he better here? And why? If you could talk to yourself and say, okay, who has the advantage in said position, and why? That's half the ball game right there. So I'm better because my pieces are active. I have a safer king long term with 3 pawns protected versus 2. I have a lot of interesting options here. Time is getting a little bit short. What's the plan now? Very dominant placement of these 2 pieces here. Black should be a little bit careful. Definitely a sensible move. A lot of players would have been reticent to make that exchange, but actually, he's right about this move. Maybe any other move, he'd be completely toast here. I was going to play like Queen e7, checkmating him on g7. It's generally the rule that you shouldn't trade pieces when you're down material, but I think here this was a very good exception to that rule. Absolutely. He's got some activity now. I'm not thinking I'm winning this position for sure. Black's disadvantage is down to almost nothing. It's a pity. I probably was winning by force at a couple of places, but I kind of erred on the side of caution and noticed that my clock was getting low. Definitely not well played by me. The second half of this, let's say second half of this game. Oh no, I thought it was trapped. Jeez. He thought it was trapped, maybe too. I'm not sure. Family fork. Putting a7. Can I take that? Yeah. Now I should have enough to be winning. 2 pawns up in this ending, but it's still not so easy, is it? Famous last words. Try to hold on to my pawn for as long as I can, I guess. Even if we have to give back the a pawn, which hopefully we won't, there's still winning chances with 1 pawn up, but generally speaking, like 3 pawns against 2 on the same side is likely to be a draw. confusing the hell out of me here. He certainly is fast, isn't he? Wow, what an amazing defense. Whew. Damn, he sees everything. Playing a lot of bullet chess there? Yeah. Alright, anyway. Final position, I guess, is a draw. I guess I wasn't winning at the end. Just too active. Played too well. Alright, good game. Not really, but I didn't play a good game either. Alright, let's see. Don't you hate that, like, good game, man? Like, even when you know you both played a bad game. Like, the hypocrisy of it, dude. Alright. Man, I can't even play my phone at level 2. Phones are pretty tough. Like, I don't have too much experience playing phones, but I remember like a year ago I was at some poker game and this dude was like, "Hey man, will you play my phone?" And I couldn't beat it. It was a draw. I don't know what level. I mean, I'm sure that they could play pretty well. I don't know what level it was on. Random dude. Level Antula. Yeah, I mean, I messed around with this move here, knight a4, but it's not really serious. It's just transposed to the Nimzo. I don't know this variation. I never played this line, the flexible or Kasparov variation. Actually, G3 is Kasparov variation. They call it, this doesn't really have a clear name. It's too general, I guess. B6. Alright. I'm just going to play a really lame setup here. I'm not awake and I'm not prepared to play this opening. Like, not sure what I'm doing, but alright, anyway. L'Avalanche played it how I would play it with black. I've noticed a few players playing this really strange move, bishop d2. Some good players. We're just transposing to a bunch of really old games from like 100 years ago, probably. Basically, white would play bishop d2 maybe a few moves later. You can play bishop d2 even on move 4 with white. It's pretty harmless. But I've noticed some good creative players playing it and doing well with it, like the Grandmaster from Peru, Julio Granda Zuniga, will play it occasionally, and he's just such a natural talent. He doesn't need to get an advantage in the opening. He'll just find an advantage later on, somehow. But this is how I would play with black. Malicious Nissus. Guys, it's 5+3. It's not a lot of time, but I do try to commentate on the games. Do we have time to play something like bishop e1, or am I going to get in trouble on the king's side? I think I'm going to get in trouble on the king's side. I mean, bishop e1, for example, knight g5 is kind of troubling. Oh, maybe not that bad. Let's give it a try. But normally you would be finding me playing black in such positions. Very standard Nimzovician approach. I think objectively it's about equal. This move I did not expect. So we're just taking. Not really sure what's going on here. I would never want to go into these lines normally, but I thought, oh, well, we'll just make something up over the board. But it looks like black's comfortable here. I have f4. Excuse me. Takes, rook takes. Rook takes, queen takes, rook f8. But, I mean, the e4 square can fall into black's hands, and we don't really want that. So maybe I'm better off not doing that, although my options here are fairly limited. The problem is that this e3 pawn hanging all the time. I know why I don't play this opening anymore. I mean, at all. I never played it for white, let alone anymore. But I thought, well, how bad can it be? Looks like black's just better here. F4. F3's no... F3, no good. Still, white's relatively solid. I should be able to salvage this game. Alright. I better not pre-move rook f3. He might not take it. If he decides not to take on f3, keep this pawn on e4, it's a much different game. What is this Queen's Gambit accept? What are you talking about? Queen's Gambit accepted. I thought you were talking about the King's Gambit before. Queen's Gambit accepted. I just sent you a message through lichess. Hope you get it. Tanager man. Yeah, I'm just not going to read the lichess messages at the moment. Maybe a little bit later. If you need to contact me immediately, do so on Twitch, please. Guys, later on I'm going to be adding a new video to my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. I'm going to analyze one of my own games that I played recently, because analyzing your own games is the single most important thing you can do to improve your game. The second most useful thing you can do is analyze the games of great players in depth, and I strongly recommend, you know, old school books or the equivalent thereof in some sort of PDF or whatever. But just playing, the point is that just playing isn't enough, you know. I mean, you really need more. Okay. I hate putting my queen in that square. What about queen e4 here? Hey. Hey. How you doing, Mr. Pawn? Wow, what an active square. I like this move. I didn't see that before, but it might make my position a lot better than I thought. I thought I was worse, but after queen e4, maybe I'm not worse. Maybe it's like equalish. Like equalish. Because we're threatening to take on e6 with check, which would pretty much like decimate Black's world. It would ruin his position to a great degree. Played queen f6. Well, now I have bishop f4. f4. h4. Yeah, I like it. Provoking weaknesses in Black's position. That was the whole plan, right? To activate this bad bishop outside on this diagonal, potentially. Also defend f2, obviously. But still, I think the position is about equal, to be fair. Generally speaking, you want to have your pawns on the opposite color of your bishop whenever possible. And now here we have an interesting spot. I could play queen, like c6, queen f3. That knight could become really powerful on e4 if I let him establish it there. So I think position is just equal. You had one draw already. You guys are pretty tough. Okay, I was winning game one. No doubt. I don't know. I'd like to play c5, but I was worried about this dropping. This is probably a bad move. Kind of risky to play c5. I should probably just hold the position there. Pizza Monkey. There is a delivery pizza place on the next street called Pizza Monkey. Maybe think of you, ominous monkey. For those of you that don't know, I'm in Budapest, Hungary. I'm American, but I've been here since 2004, on and off. Happy to get an equal endgame. Actually, better than equal. Probably rook a5 here. a6. All roads lead to Rome. Damn, dude, that's an awfully accurate move to find. Found rook e2 instantaneously. It wasn't a no-brainer. It was the only move that doesn't lose a pawn. There you should play b4 though. And now I can torture you for a little while. Man, he saw that. Whatever. Yeah. Alright, this is always a draw. Anyway, just checking the opening. If this ever been played before? There's actually some real players who played this for white. I don't understand. For some reason, f5 is rare here. 2 games. Shandor Dayak. Kengus. Yeah, bishop e1 is pretty rare. White has no advantage here. Bishop e1 is best move according to the engine. Played perfectly for black. Knight d2, queen g5. I'm not sure about that. That's a little ambitious. Yeah, look, it's the engine's best move at the last moment. Okay, it's debatable. It's a little risky. Now here, according to the computer, I should do something on the queen side. Well, now I'm slightly worse. Where did you go wrong? Queen e4? Computer's like e5. Black's theoretically slightly better. I still think it's a draw. Alright. Back to chess. 5 plus 3. 2 draws today. Man. That was a lame opening by me. Sorry guys, I just sort of panicked like a deer in the headlights. I can't seem to settle in. The Lawnmower Man played b3. I remember I saw that movie in the theaters. It was like 1992 or something, and it was pretty bad. Although like all Stephen King movies are bad, pretty much. There's a new It coming out. e3. Alright, I don't know guys. Another lame opening. I should have played my usual stuff. Normally I play d5 on move 1 against b3, but I don't know. I'm basically playing the Kohler system. This is a strange move. That is a really, really strange move, Holmes. Alright. Maybe I shouldn't play g6. He wants to put his knight on f4. I've never played this person before. Could be a new account. And it's 5 plus 3. He's just 52 games, I see, okay. Alright, well, anyway. We're playing the Kohler system. I need to play faster, because obviously this guy is all about fast. The Shining is good. But I mean, that was like freaking Stanley Kubrick, dude. It wasn't like some random director. Yeah. Bishop d3 is kind of naive. But anyway, at the end of the day, I just wasted time, huh? Maybe I'm naive. No, I fell for his trick here. Wasted time myself. That'll teach his knight on h3 to mess with me. All right. Aside from any kind of conspiracy theories about Stanley Kubrick, he was a good director. Anyway, just on the subject of movies made based on Stephen King stories, The Shining was one of the few good ones. Anyway, back to chess. Where are we here? This guy is playing some strange stuff. Knight h3, that is so bizarre. I mean, I was actually thinking he should play f4, pull the trigger on that. I don't even know if I should even take the knight on h3. Objectively, it's in such a bad position. Probably not. That's an instructive concept. I think like most people, including myself, would be like strongly tempted just to rip that piece off the board, but it's so badly placed. I think you've got to make an argument that it's not even worth it. Even if I damage his pawn structure, he could get some counterplay along the g file, and it's not that easy for me to attack the white squares. So it would enable him to have some plans, basically. We're going to play e4 and Mubat. Mubat is doing overtime today. It's Friday. People are crazy. Crazy with the banned words and the caps. Lawnmower Man 1986, but he's playing like a maniac. Okay, this is only based on like 50 games. By the way, I mean, I really prefer if people have an established rating and 50 games or so. If you're going to play here on the stream. The time has come. You know, perhaps I should have taken on h3 there and then played e4. Now it's definitely... Wait a minute here. If I play queen e5, he has a really odd... No. Yeah, this like wins by force, doesn't it? This is like double threat made on h2. And he can't play knight f3 without dropping his bishop on b2. We're actually going to score a point, it looks like. On lichess, how can you play a person if you know their username? Well, I would go to community, players. If you go to the community tab, click players, and then like enter their name into the search box, and then you can click on it and challenge them to a game. The double attack. Lawnmower Man melted down. We had We had a winning position first game, and we managed to draw. And the second game was kind of balanced, and that was a draw. We had a lame system with white in the Nimzo. This game, we're finally going to get a full point. A few weeks ago, Plucro suggested I do like a viewer tournament, and we're going to do that, I think, in the next couple weeks. It's a cool idea. I saw that who was doing that recently. Queepers. So, trying to trap my queen or something. It is sort of awkward. How do I get my queen out of there? I guess this. We could play bishop a3 maybe. Just not to allow rook c1. It also avoids pawn. Speaking of pawn forks, someone's just talking about pawn forks. If I try to get my queen back through b6, I'm going to get forked by c5. Put the bishop on a3 first, maybe. It was a little bit of a paranoid move, though, honestly. I mean, I don't think he's really threatening to trap my queen, is he? Maybe now. Only now. It's still practically impossible to trap my queen. I have a4 if I need an escape route. So we should be good to go. Welcome, everybody. It's Friday. Friday, not the 13th of May. Friday the 12th. Close. The almost trapped queen. But I mean, he's bothering me. He's not letting me... he's bothering me. He's not letting me attack him, man. It's kind of bumming me out. Maybe I can really get my queen trapped here? I can do a damn good job of trying. This knight is going to be very disruptive. Okay, this just sort of loses the tempo. Better off going here. We're not in danger of getting the queen trapped. Officially not in danger. Too hard for him to control the dark squares. There's no way to play like a3. He can play it, but... Actually, it almost works. It almost worked. Queen b2. Not a good square. Not going down without a fight, eh? Let's check. Yeah, it was too much for Lawnmower Man. Not really a good opening. I mean, b3's fine. I think the first few moves were okay. But if he's going to play knight h3, he should have followed up with like knight f4 quickly or f4 or something. The knight got sidelined there very quickly. I'm a little groggy. Yesterday, it was funny. I haven't played any blitz at all. outside of the stream, and I'm getting kind of rusty. I need to practice and play just kind of extracurricular blitz games off stream. My game has gotten a little bit slow, and I'm not real sharp. So it was funny that yesterday I was waiting for one of my students, and I decided to play this random blitz game in some tournament on lichess. And ironically, like, I play 5 moves and immediately my phone rings. I'm playing some guy who's like 1800. I figure it will be a really easy game. Just immediately the phone rings, distracts me. First I blundered a pawn. He didn't see it, and then it was like a 5-0 game. Then I managed to actually get a piece trapped, and I was totally lost, but the guy managed to mess it up. Okay, this is some sort of hedgehog that's basically kind of passive for black. I think I had something similar against Canadian Pascal Charbonneau once, but A5 is very strange. I mean, you really need to, if anything, play A6 here and stop my knight from being able to go to B5 and in these squares. I had something like this with Charbonneau where he went like A6, Queen C7, D6, but it's a pretty passive setup. It's a very passive setup for black. Trying to get in a double fianchetto, just kind of pressured the center and put the bishops on the longest possible diagonals. Many openings it's not possible to fianchetto your bishops, but these are the longest diagonals on the board, so it's logical that those should be the best positions for the 2 bishops. However, it's not often possible to do a double fianchetto. Stylistically, a lot of people don't necessarily like it. Black is in a lot of trouble here now. Immediately, I have knight e4. We'll play simple chess. And then this. And now he's in a kind of bind. I don't really see how black's going to get out of this. We just... Fine. You know, now his rook is hanging and he has no good way to protect it. It's a really bad situation. C5 here. The only thing is that he has rook a6 trying to free himself. But this position looks extremely dubious for black. This will force his rook to e8, and then his knight can't go there to fight for control of d6. I'm debating whether to play c5 here. Maybe I should. Not sure though. Bulbo Hassan. 2200 in bullet. Wow. That's huge. 2200. That's a massive rating for... Wow. He doesn't have too many games. Pretty new account, I guess. He's kind of tied up here. Should be an easy win for white, but there's just not that much material left. We're not going to have a Checkmate. Look at this. He finds this b6 only move. I remember the game from yesterday. What happened? Maybe it's time we turned our attention to the king's side. Strikes me as a player with almost no opening knowledge and limited sort of positional understanding, but he must be really, really good tactically to be 2200 in bullet. E5, wow, that's convenient. Suddenly black is okay. Whatever I do, he seems to have an answer for it. We actually swindled him tactically. Alright, well, we've got piece for 2 pawns. Looks good for white, but my bishops are kind of strangely placed in exposed positions here. He's threatening something. Unclear. Can't really trap his queen or anything. So we'll just go home. Should be winning for white, but it's not that simple. 94. I mean, we're up. We're up a piece. After bishop e3, we have a double attack. Maybe this wasn't the best move. I wanted to get my bishop off a square where it's exposed, but objectively, might have had a simpler solution here than playing bishop e3, which is a bit awkward. It's probably good enough. Win a piece up. I thought he should have played that move last move. How about like another move, rook a1? I'm just a little concerned about f4. I have this move. Actually, I was trying to set that up last move. It's useful defensively here. $2,200 in bullet chess. I think it does strange things to the game. You know, I'm playing some players I could never have really conceptualized of long ago. So strong in some respects. Chess is much different now than it was in the past. You got players who are very, very strong, say in openings, and yet have like no endgame technique. People are learning chess much differently than they did in the past, and it's changing the way that people play chess. Halligator, Sunmanic, Chess King Nadir, 960. Mysterious Labyrinth, I think we might have played them before. Geezer, Labirian, and B4 Got You. B2 G4 Got You. You might have played them. No. Alright, Halligator is like master strength. What happened? I'm looking at Alligator's profile instead of clicking on his challenge. Alright, sorry to bring everyone to your profile page. Man, I don't know why you went on this tangent just now, but that's incredibly interesting about how people are learning. Dude, we've got to go on tangents. I mean, we've got 2.5 hours of talking here nonstop. You know, it would be kind of boring if I didn't occasionally go on a tangent about something. It's not a complete tangent. I'm just saying that this player, you know, you just don't appreciate really what I'm trying to say. This player is a player, the last guy I played, who it's difficult for me to understand how you could be that good in bullet chess and that bad in other respects of the game. Something that wouldn't have been conceivable, you know, years ago. And I've just been thinking about this lately. People are playing, it's actually hurting people's games, I think, playing too much. Just bullet chess. Okay, it depends on what you want. If you want to just be good at bullet chess, then that's fine. But if you want to learn chess in general, my theory on it, you know, if you look at Nakamura and all these great 2800 players who, oh, they're awesome at bullet chess, you know. But you've got to understand that they were strong players too. I mean, outright in over-the-board chess. Before they, you know, before Hikaru Nakamura was the world's greatest bullet player, he was like a really strong over-the-board player. And I think the first thing is to learn to. I learned this as a player playing for money, playing chess for money in the cafe. The first thing you've got to do is put priority on the best moves, not playing for time. Being fast is good, but you've got to be good first, and fast second, and put the emphasis on really trying to play the best moves. Anyway, here I played CD, ED, and H5 against Blue Pro last week, but I still think that variation. I just feel that variation is a little bit hokey. Something weird about playing H5. Anyway, whatever. I mean, C takes D transposes to a game I have from my team, Budapest Team Championship this year. Halligator played Queen takes D4. This is a quiet move, quite solid. If he had played like C4, I might be able to sack a pawn with Knight C6, but I don't think I have enough here, so I have to just play. Actually, There was a tournament game I had against a Vietnamese IM like 10 years ago, maybe less, 8 years ago or so. Yeah, he played basically the exact same as Alligator. I mean, I think this is fine. Fine for white. It's probably about equal. Pretty much balanced. But playing this line against the Trompowsky, I'm not sure which way to recapture here, by the way. Probably with the bishop. It's basically a Chigorin reversed. Chigorin defense reversed. I guess you could take with the pawn. But when I'm taking with the bishop, I'm actually thinking about a number of factors. I mean, the bishop itself could become more useful. Also, I'm thinking that I could potentially castle queenside. And these two pawns here might make a good sort of shelter for my king. If I go like b takes, castling queenside, it's still possible, but it's a little bit weirder. I don't know. I guess both recaptures are possible. Spending too much time in the park. Exactly. But people are just obsessed with bullet chess now, you know, and I think that that's fine if you want to do that. You know, if that's all you care about is being good at bullet chess, that's absolutely fine. But I think it is hurting some players' ability to improve. Because I have like a student I was doing a lesson with yesterday, and he's really, I guess, around 1600 ELO strength. And he just basically, all he was doing was playing 3-0 games. And I was looking at the games, and I was like, man, these games are bad. You know, the quality of the games was just bad. I mean, that's not helping your game. If the quality of the games you're playing is bad, then, and both sides are making a lot of bad moves, chances are this isn't really improving your game. Okay, here I'm in time pressure, but I need to think about where I'm going to put my king ultimately. Relieving the guard. This is about putting the bishop on a square where it's like looking both ways. It's also relieving my queen to be able to move because it was tied down to f6. And the biggest issue facing black in this kind of opening is where to put my king. Because of the doubled pawns, it's very tricky. You know, you can try to castle kingside and hide the king on h8. You can try to castle queenside, and you can try to leave the king in the center of the board. So there's like 3 possibilities. I'm not really sure which is the best. We're going to keep our options open, depending on what white does. King on h8 could come under attack pretty easily from like queen and knight. But I'm basically playing this game kind of conservatively. There are a lot more aggressive approaches I could have taken at many points. Okay, f4. He's trying to stop me from playing e5, I guess. Maybe set up f5 himself and undermine my center. I didn't really want to go queen b6 because this double pawn structure that'd be pretty stale for black. Queen b6, queen takes b6. It's not necessary to ruin my structure. Queen c7 is possible, but kind of passive. Also prone to being attacked by like knight takes d5. For me, often like in blitz games, I think that choosing the move is kind of a process of elimination, lesser of the evil sort of thing. I don't even have to like concretely have a plan, just look at the position and think logically and say to myself, okay, like which of these moves seems like best in principle. Wow, e4. Can't say I anticipated that move, but it looks reasonable. Whatever. Honestly, the game to me looks pretty close. All the time I've been sort of leaning toward this castle and queenside plan. Because, I mean, it connects my rooks. My king is a little safer than it is on the king side. That's why I didn't want to take back with the b pawn. I thought my king is safest on b8 in this sort of position. But it's a very, very complicated game. In fact, here, he really has a lot of choices. He could play e5, he could play f5, maybe not f5. I just take on e4. It looks sort of dubious. Alright, never mind. He can play e5, he can take. We see take. Bishop takes d5. Alligator, I just kid about his name. I like to call him the alligator. We've played... dude, what's the deal with that, actually? We've played more than that. Why are our games... Like, we definitely played more than one game, Alligator. You have, like, multiple accounts or something? He must have multiple accounts. Alright. He's just totally melted down. Nah. Not a good idea. Why didn't you take my bishop on d5? Rook takes. Bishop f3. Or simply bishop c6. Maybe this the simplest. And then for my next trick, here. Okay, we're a clear pawn up. I think we're gonna simplify. All right. Pawn up. Probably the better minor piece and very active file for my rook. I really would like to improve my king though. No Irish pawns today. All right, man. Nice king. Active king. Yep. Guys, we're streaming till 12:30 today. Just so you know. I've got to go. Got to go before he gets some counterplay. We're going to have two connected passed pawns. Actually, this has got to be good. Time is a little bit short here. Master had that. Damn, dude. I let this get far more technical than I should have. All right, nice nice fight at the end, but Alligator just kind of gave me the game there. I mean, he fought hard at the end, but I think his position was okay here when he played Queen A4. I don't understand what possessed him to play Queen A4. He just has an equal game. After knight takes D5, this is what I kind of expected. Rook C5. It's a little bit imbalanced, but I'm sure that I'm not worse here. All right. Anyway, this is a new opponent, Sun Manic. I think this was always a winning endgame for me, but I certainly didn't play the best. In time pressure, I made a lot of inaccuracies. I thought that Alligator actually, he defended about as well as you can defend. Uses active king. Maybe we can find some small improvements for him, but objectively, I don't think that he had ever really saved the game. Now, this guy is supposed to be, what, 1400? Okay. Guys, if you do challenge me, make sure it's 5+3 casual. At Slaggy. What are the lichess teacher dudes? Dudes. As far as lessons are concerned, yeah, man, send me a message on lichess if you're interested in taking lessons. You can also email me, videochesstrainer@gmail.com. Okay, I played the Najdorf. Wow. I'm really in outer space today. I never played the Najdorf, but I do know a little bit about it, ironically. Sun Manic, 1400. It's not really... Okay, usually I don't play accounts with this few games, but he was chatting in the Twitch chat. I thought we'll give him a chance. A certified coach on lichess, Sun Manic. You know the English attack against the Najdorf. That's pretty good, dude. We've had some strong opponents who are like 900, 1400, 1500. I've been surprised. This is sort of an unusual move. I'm not going to come out and say it's bad. This particular position, it's probably not the best move, but it is typically played in some situations to avoid exchanges of pieces. I'm going to go out on a limb and play h5 here. This is a very extreme concept. Extreme chess concepts, but we're basically trying to preempt him from a pawn storm on the king's side. And I'm not at all saying this is a good move or the best move. It's just a way of playing. A really interesting way of playing. My friend Zlatko Linčić, Serbian grandmaster, he's really into this, doing h5 very, very early in the Najdorf. Wow, h4 response. Okay, I'm not sure what his best move is there, but h4 looks reasonable. Pretty impressive setup by white. I don't know if he could sack a piece for 3 pawns. White's play is very, very logical. Pawn structure wise, it's fine. The only move that's like a little bit slow is knight b3, but again, it's not really a bad move. And now he's fully aggro. 1400, huh? I would expect this like from a Kamsky. I had a very similar game against Kamsky, but I didn't play h5 against him. Basically, my king is only going to castle in special circumstances. Mostly, I don't expect people who are rated 1400 to have this sophisticated an understanding of the opening. A3, you could make an argument that he's weakening his pawn structure in front of his king position a little bit, but it's probably not that bad. Like a reasonable weakening. Flucro says you play the Verisov move order with knight c3 to avoid bishop g5, knight e4. Why would you want to avoid bishop g5, knight e4? It's probably like one of black's worst defenses. You should definitely play. Knight e4 is totally overrated against Trompowsky. You should want to play against that. Wow, bishop g5. Nice move. Maybe this. Bishop g5 looks like a good move too. Very grandmasterly sort of move. Exploiting the weakness of the g5 square. We have several ideas. I mean, obviously knight c4. Knight can recirculate back here. And we can go to g4 if he plays f4. This could be a good outpost. He did. Now the question is, knight g4 just looks kind of slow. In this line, at least I get some play along the b file, if he takes. But this guy's not 1400. I mean, I really don't think he's 1400. I mean, I don't know what his deal is. He's only got 30 games, but it's extremely strong type of aggressive play by white in a mainline Sicilian. Most of the players that were 2000 here can't get this far against me. Maybe I need to play bishop d7, but I'm a little bit worried about it. All right, I guess we can do it. Grandmaster strength play by white. Pretty weird. No, this move is not. He went from like the perfect game to b4. Wow. He had played literally perfectly until this move. I mean, you can make arguments about knight b3 and a3 being bad moves, but they're not really bad moves. He literally played like a GM until 17 b4, or at least a master. White's probably better here. In fact, I was thinking he has e5, doesn't he? So he played almost perfect game, and then instead of finding e5, no, I'm not going to give you a take back now. After telling you the best move, what take back, dude, am I going to give? Like, oh, your queen's hanging here. You want to take back? It doesn't matter. Yeah, Pukro, I really think that against the Trompowski, knight e4 is... Anyway, I'm not going to waste too much more time here if we're going to do take-backs and stuff. I'll play one take-back, but we've got to play the other players too, so... I think white's like nearly better there, if we want to look at this. That's pretty damn good for a 1400. Maybe 3 is a really rare move. It's non-theoretical. H5 is risky. Here he plays H4, which I thought was fine. And he's slightly better. A3 is actually the first move of the engine there. That's something that might not be the case if we let the computer run a little longer. It might change its mind about A3. Bishop g5 also first move of the engine. Strange. And then f4. f4. I think in this position he was okay. I thought queen b7, knight a4. So I had a hallucination here. Damn. This was stupid. I was just winning there. So his real mistake is f4, I guess. He has to play bishop e2 something. No. Okay, not f4. Because f4 weakens the e4 square. And that's how white is losing. So actually he wasn't okay. I thought maybe he had this though. But I have queen b7. Or take queen b7, which was my plan. He has no good way of defending b4. Maybe that's why he freaked out and played b4. But still, I thought very, very good opening for a guy who's rated around 1400. Mysterious Labyrinth, 5+3. Yeah, I mean, I think that playing blitz is cool. Like 5, 5-0. 5 minutes with an increment, but like don't try to force yourself to play 1 minute chess. I mean, I think that's something really like advanced players can do, but you know, we see a lot of people like starting out just playing 1-0. I mean, it's kind of alien. I mean, chess was not meant to be like played where you know you're learning the game playing 1-0. I mean, and that's what's happening in a lot of cases. It's just really strange. Knight d2. Interesting move order. Well, if you play e4, I mean, you know, it's not like White has the best setup against the Pirt's defense or something. I'm not real terrified by this. So I guess we should just let him do it. I mean, I play the Pirt's, I play the Alekhine's defense. I play a lot of different hypermodern stuff. But I mean, the bottom line is that, oh, you know, he got in e4, but his pieces aren't set up, you know, like in a way that he can really do anything aggressive to me, you know. And so, though he has the mighty center, it's not really a big achievement because these pieces are placed kind of clumsily for a Pirt's type of position. So White has to play cautiously here. He can't really be aggressive, taking advantage of his central pawns as he might like to. Someone was showing the King Crusher clip yesterday where the dude freaked out. He was playing somebody who played knight h5 and he just pre-moved and dropped his bishop on f4. You guys seen that? That's pretty funny. I'm not gonna curse. No! It was really hilarious. But that's what you get, man, when you play bullet chess and you're like pre-moving and dropping pieces. It's just ridiculous. You like make the move without looking what the other guy is doing and then complain that you hung a piece. I mean, that's pretty bizarre. Anyway, c3, it's solid for White. Mysterious Labyrinth, 1772. Norvegia. Justice Bot, yeah, Justice Bot was sharing the clip yesterday. But seriously, I mean, this is the guy, King Crusher, who's constantly playing berserking, and he must be pre-moving all his moves all the time. It was a funny reaction, though. Alright, very solid stuff for White here. I want to play e5, but I don't know if I can do it. I have to prepare it somehow. Yeah, my favorite opening that I've ever heard of in Bullet was my friend Zlatko again. He likes to do like e4 and when his opponents play the Pirt's defense, he pre-moves e5. That's obviously probably like a standard idea. I'm not really a Bullet player, so I don't know, you know, but listening to a grandmaster who was champion of Yugoslavia, who was 2600, describing like his Bullet strategy of playing like e4, d6, e5, in all seriousness, I mean, that's pretty sad, dude. He would actually take pleasure in like taking people's knights on f6. It's so stupid. So 2600 grandmasters or former ones can degenerate to that level of pre-moving to cheaply win pieces. You guys use that typically in Bullet? The e4, e5 attack? Alright, this is actually a setup I have played pretty often with black. But it's very, very drawish. The whole system's very, very drawish. Mysterious Labyrinth. 1800 Bullet, yep. 2000 Classical, that's nice to see. He's higher in Classical than Bullet and Blitz. I mean, I've had this position like a million times. And it's basically a Tory attack. It's transposed to a Tory attack. It's funny. I mean, d4, knight f6, bishop f4, g6, knight d2, bishop g7. And we've actually got a position that's directly from d4, knight f6, knight f3, g6, bishop g5. It's funny how that could happen. Like a completely different system with a similar structure. But this is a Tory attack, like, exactly. And I think it's just totally equal. But if white plays too passively, he can drift here. Yeah, Farmville. It was Farmville. Apparently a friend of Justice Bot. Now what am I doing? One of my standby plans is this. Everybody thinks that you're trying to play knight f4. That's only one of the ideas. Actually, yeah, this is just equal. I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to win this position for black, really. Once I managed to win it against a guy who was like 2100. But if I had to win for $1 million, this opening, I'd be a little bit concerned. If I had to win this position for $1 million, pretty much against anybody, I'd be a little concerned that I might not be able to do it. This is my original plan. Trading the bad bishop. Very minimalistic approach. Basically, the only thing white can do wrong is go too passive. Well, you've got to admit that video is kind of funny. Now, white's very deep strategy here is to like trade all the pieces off and draw. I'm gonna try to not allow that to happen, and objectively, there's a problem for him with this bad bishop and the pawn on the white square. Now, this is hanging, and that's the issue. See. That's what I'm talking about. Now his bishop is tied down, and I also have some potential of knight c5. But maybe b5 straight up. Still, it's not that easy. b5. We need the knight to protect e5 here. Queen e7 is another move. Queen e7, queen a3, queen takes a3, knight takes a3. Not really sure what's going on there. He did not go for that. I'm not really sure what I should do, objectively. Not lose on time, obviously. It's an interesting situation. This bishop looks really bad, but at the same time, it's not really getting in the way of his other pieces, so it's not that big a problem. White's playing a little bit passively. I'm not sure about queen c5, but I have to try something. And I was thinking about like b5, b4. It's very risky though to do that. Maybe I have a better plan. Instead, changing my plan to bad bishop versus good bishop. Is he bullet really strong? 1800. Tons of bullet games. This is like convoluted position. What a horrible bishop it is on on b1 now. Not a lot of tactics going on here, as you can imagine. Dark square squeeze. $1,700. What a defender. I missed bishop takes h3 there. Or maybe I didn't. I'm not sure. Bishop takes h3, knight takes f4. Well, this is easier than other options. Yeah, what can I say? I mean, White played a little bit too passively. You know, he was drifting a little bit more and more too far back defensively. All right, Geezer 2. We played this account the other day. It is established. All right, Yeah, the bishop is a pawn on the first rank. I've had bishops like that in the last couple of streams, actually. Usually I'm black with the bishop on e8. I was talking about that. It's the base of the pawn chain. Let's try an Aliokhin's defense. I like to play this opening for fun. Keys are instant move. I remember it was a pretty tough game yesterday, I think. Played pretty tough. He doesn't seem to be taken surprise. He doesn't seem to be taken by surprise by Aliokhin's defense. Sometimes I call it Alekhine's defense. I try to sound American, but it's actually Aliokhin. Aliokhin. If we try to pronounce it by the true Russian pronunciation of the former world champion. 2 Hungarian international masters passed away last week, and one of them was a veteran IM who I played a lot here in Budapest, Lengyel Bela. And Bela was a good blitz player. I played a lot of blitz matches with Bela, but he was famous because his favorite player was Aliokhin, and he would always call him Dr. Aliokhin. Aliokhin Doctor was his chess hero. Bela Lengyel, he was like my neighbor almost. So R.I.P. Bela. Knight f3. What's the deal with this? Well, I guess we play bishop g4. It's standard stuff. But now the question is, okay, this is a game I had with Attila Turzo in the first Saturday, 1998. My first Grandmaster tournament, where I lost 4 games in a row for the first time in my life. I think I played CD and Turzo played E6, D5, excuse me. Is that the right position? It's a little strange, come to think of it, but I think that's right. I don't know. Anyway, I think this is a little bit safer, taking back this way. Geezer to 12.99. No, he's really 14.17. You guys are very strong 1400s that dare to play me on my stream. The average 1400, like in a tournament here on lichess, can't even get through like the first 5 moves without making some sort of really bad mistake. Bit of a weird setup with the b3, bishop b2. It can't be that bad for white though. So I'm thinking about d5 maybe. Could change the structure. Sort of shut down this piece on b2. It's a debatable decision. But I don't want him to play d5. You know, that's not really a good structure for me. So you could consider something like bishop f6 maybe. But in my experience, sometimes it runs into things like g4, g5 later on, though that's not really an issue with the bishop on b2. I don't know. Okay, so d5, c5, and then we're going back to c8. And this might seem abstract and strange, but it's actually typical for Aliokhin's defense. This type of pawn structure in particular. Getting out of the way of the other pieces, but our main plan is to play like knight e7. $1400. I don't know, man. I'm not sure this was the most accurate bishop f6 for me, but do I play knight c6 now? Maybe. Knight d7 is also good. But more passive, isn't it? Not really sure. The geese are 1400. It sounds like a chess program. It's a little more natural than going to d7 at this point, I guess. Though c6 and knight d7 would leave my pawn structure better protected. Not really sure. There's some kind of really big wind here. Anyway, guys, I do have a simul on Sundays. I want to mention that again. This Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Central European Summertime, basically European Summertime, which covers most of Europe. We have 25 player simul here on lichess. But I'm not buying that this guy's 1400. I mean, I said it for the last player, but this play is 2000 strength. White's not making any sort of mistakes. Yesterday, Geezer was the same way, dude. I mean, I wouldn't want to play you in a tournament with that rating. That's not really cool. I mean, you're clearly not 1400. And yesterday's game was also very tough. I ended up winning, but actually, I think I made a blunder. I could have won easier yesterday's game. But I still think you're too strong for 1400. Maybe he's just an opening specialist. You do get people who are like really good at the opening and don't really care about the other aspects of the game. G4 kind of weakening move. Now knight f1. Alekhine Doctor. Maybe I should play h5. Bishop e4 comes to mind. Chop, 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 chop. But I'm having trouble with my pieces. The knight on c8 never did get into the game. Wow. Geezer too. He's also faster than me. That's not too hard to do though. But I don't think this guy, you'd want to play him in a tournament. Knight e5 is kind of an interesting trick. Doesn't actually do anything. Okay, queen d2 was a bad move. You need to take here. Knight takes. Bishop takes d5. When I can't take because of back rank mate. And White's got a game going on. But he didn't see it. Still, I'm a little bit concerned about my position. We're really, really touch and go here. Probably winning, but we have to be very, very careful. As you can see. Not sure. Bishop takes d5 as a threat. What is this guy's deal? I mean, there's no way you should be in a tournament as 1400. Literally trying to kill me. I don't know, man. But that rating is not cool. Yeah, this is not real. Now I'm practically lost. I mean, what is this, dude? 1400. Alright, whatever, man. I mean, you shouldn't be running around with a rating like that. You're obviously a very dangerous player. He's got the initiative here. He's probably close to winning. His best rated victory is 1700. Yeah, now he's better against the 2450. But yesterday he played the opening well too. But I mean, that's a lot of games. That's 300 games, 368 games. He's playing, you know, 1700 would be like the minimum. Now this almost wins by force. Rook e1. I'm just hanging on by a thread here. Yeah, well, whatever, dude. This is the last game I'm playing with this guy. It's clearly some sort of multiple players on the same account. No way he should be 1400. Even saw that. With no time left. Blockading like a master. It's totally bogus. And I just don't like people trolling me, dude. You know. And if you're 2200, then you should be 2200. If you're 2000, you should be 2000, but you're not 1400 or whatever. So this is just a troll account. It's totally uncool. Not just for my sake, imagine if this guy plays in a tournament here on lichess, how badly he's going to screw people with that rating. That's the thing that's really upsetting, you know. He's like 2,000 strength or something, 1,900. Look how fast he can play. Whatever, dude. All right. Moving on to the next game. We're gonna play Liberian. But if I play 1400s who play like they're 1900, you know, it's not cool. Absolutely, you know, rating manipulation. This guy shouldn't be running around with a 1400 rating. It's not funny, you know. So, or it's like two people playing on the same account, basically. It's obviously not a computer. He makes blunders, but it's not fun for the other players who are going to face him in the tournament where he's like 1,800, 1,900 at least, and he's just wasting them. I mean, Liberian B3, oh man. Yeah, that's a tough move. I don't know what to do. I think objectively the last player's strength was probably like 1,800, 1,900, but a fast 1,800, 1,900. And he's sitting around with a 1,400 rating. It's just totally wrong. Liberian B3 is a good line, and very solid for you. I don't like my position already. The classic rating is not provisional. What the problem is that he's going to play in tournaments here on lichess, which is unfair to the people that he's playing against. That's the problem, Romelda Fox. Not my problem. I don't care. It's a casual game against me, man. But something's not right there, you know. That guy shouldn't have a 1,400 rating after 350 games. That's a bad sign, basically. So, all right. Knight h4. Knight h4, you know, I almost welcome knight h4 kind of moves usually. It's taking the knight away from the center, and I don't mind giving up my white square bishop. But I am concerned about my bishop's safety here. Liberian is another really, really dangerous player, but he's legitimate. I mean, his blitz rating, his bullet, and his classical are all in line with his real strength. What if I take on c3 and play? Yeah, this is kind of cool. Let's see. We take here and we play bishop e4, inducing f3. What do you guys think about this? Well, I think it can count as a sandbagging if it's rated or not rated. I mean, the guy can be reported for being stronger than his real rating. You know, I'm not gonna go to that trouble, but maybe I should report him for being much stronger than his apparent rating. But it's like I feel like I'm being trolled, you know, when people like that play against me. That's why I get kind of pissed off. I feel like someone's out there like trolling me, like, haha, look, I'm a 2,000 player, I'm gonna pretend to be a 1,400, you know. Whatever. Imagine you get paired with that guy and you're like 1,700 and you play him in a tournament here on lichess, you know, and you're like, oh, it'll be an easy game, a 1,400, and then the guy starts blitzing you like a 1,900 at the end. I mean, that's what I felt like I was playing. I was very close to losing, dude. I mean, I won the game, but if you look at it in retrospect, he might have even played well enough to have been winning in that game. He might have been winning at some point. which is not easy to do against someone who's like supposed to be 1,000 rating points higher than you. Queen e2. These darn arrows drive me crazy. I don't know, maybe we shouldn't allow arrows to function while we're playing a game. I mean, actually I use it a lot, but can you draw arrows on your game like in a rated game, or is it just in the unrated games? What if I take on c4 and play knight b6 here? This is gonna be his knight is sort of chilling out there on h4. You know what? It's very tempting to play knight b6, but it might not be the best move. In fact, I mean, it's very likely not the best move. I was thinking knight b6 and trying to grab the exchange with like c5, bishop c4. But let's look at that for a second. Like bishop c4, queen e3, bishop takes f1. I mean, at the end of the day, I have knight a4 there. I should be winning. He has another move, queen b2. This actually looks pretty strong. I mean, my argument is that like c5 is good too. Yeah, it's a big issue in tournaments, in live tournaments. People losing rating points on purpose. It's always been a big issue. I could win a lot of money, man. I mean, if I was able to lower my rating below 2,200, I could just go around the world cleaning up like under 2,200 sections, like $1,000 a tournament. You know, I mean, it'd be pretty easy to do. You know, if I just dropped 200 rating points. Rook d1, that's a sensible move. I can count on Liberian to find a sensible defense. So, which way do we want to take here? Bishop takes. Queen c2, I guess. Defends everything. So maybe knight takes. I mean, it's a little more natural to go forward with the knight. There is this move, though. Thinking outside the box. It's pretty cool. Knight a4, queen c2, and then something like c5, or knight takes, queen takes, c5, e5. Looks really good for black. One of many possibilities. I don't know, maybe I'm getting too fancy here. Would be nice to trap his knight at some point with g5. I'm down to 35 seconds. Well, I mean, this is a guy I played yesterday, and I thought he played better than a 1400 yesterday too. But instead of blocking him, I should just report him for rating manipulation. I just block people so I can't play them anymore. But actually, I'm not sure if it even works. If you block someone, does that automatically restrict you from playing against them? Liberian, what are you doing? Liberian just blundered. Or did he? Well, I can't really take the rook. I mean, I could, actually. 2 rooks for a queen. Yeah, I guess I should. I'm afraid it's going to get kind of messy if I do that, though. Maybe it's better not to take it. But on the other hand, I get kind of tied up there. I'm not sure. My queenside majority with the 2 bishops should be pretty strong. Oh, my time. Lost on time. Oh well. Anyway, it was a high quality game. We'll move on to the next game. Chess King Nadir. Chess King Nadir, 5 plus 3. He's 937. Alright, Chess King Nadir. Just don't play like you're 1800, okay, dude? Play like you're 1500 or less. Sorry guys, I just sort of spaced in the last game. I was trying to play chess, not play for time. Couldn't really decide on a move. It's not important. Anyway, I just try to play good chess. You know, Liberian is mostly concerned with winning on time, but that's my second priority. It was a really bad game. Chess King Nadir, 937, is not here, so we have half an hour left. 20 plus minutes. Chess King Nadir. B4 got B2 got 4. Oh, this I can't say. B2 G4 got you. Ooh, that's hard to say. He liked play like Carlsen. Yeah, so the blocking wouldn't work, right? If it affected your ability to play with someone. What does blocking actually do? Is like all it does is like stop people from sending you messages. It doesn't stop people from like watching the game. I've had trolls I've blocked. I'm gonna abort this. I've had trolls I blocked like yesterday, and they could just watch anyway. They're in the audience. I guess all it does is stop people from sending you messages. Maybe that's the only thing it does, which doesn't really matter. Alright. We haven't played any real flank openings today. But Liberian, I was interested in playing some quality moves there. Spent all my time doing so, but forgot the object of the game was to win on time. Alright, C4. It's a weird setup for black. Kind of Mexican defense he wants to play. We could let him transpose to a sort of Queen's Gambit. A bad Queen's Gambit. With knight on C6 and pawn E6. You're out of book. Not really, man. I mean, you're out of your book, but not the book. Probably knight F6 is the main move. Going into the two knights tango. That's what I know it as, anyway. I've played this for black. Knight F6 is fine. You could also play maybe your move or bishop B4 check, I suppose. Kind of weird Bogo Indian. Yeah, I really spaced on the time last game. I was interested in the position. Looking at a lot of cool lines. B2 G4, I can't say your name. Do you not play a lot of blitz? He plays bullet even, but he's just dropping a pawn here. But the priority should be to play good moves. If you have to play, if playing fast, you know, makes you just play bad moves, it's probably better not to play fast. You know, that would be my advice. But again, like, looking at one of my students' games yesterday where he played just 3-0 games and all the games were like horrible. Now it's possible this is some sort of tricky gambit he actually analyzed. Bishop G5. Knight takes D5, bishop takes D8, bishop B4 check, knight D2. There's like 2 pieces for a queen there. I mean, that's probably fine for me. That happens sometimes in the in the Cambridge Springs, like knight takes d5 and bishop takes d8, bishop e4 check. When I don't have this move, I'm just like losing the queen back and I have to resign. What's up, everybody? I think blocking means blocking the high-rated opponents in an internet tournament. What? Thereby getting matches against... Yeah, I understand. Of course. That would be a great practical strategy. Ambulance training again today. I want to play g3. Maybe it's safer just to play e3 and wait. He's basically playing a form of the Hennig Shara Gambit. Kind of that type of thing. Which is in the Tarash. Hennig Shara Gambit style pawn sacrifice. It's not sound, but I could see how white could go wrong here. You know, players could definitely go wrong. Guys, we'll be back on Sunday with Simul for 25 players. $6:30 p.m. CEST on Sunday. I read the practice experience is most important, so I tried Blitz for like 3K games. Did not improve at all. Well, I mean, you're probably going to improve if it's longer Blitz. Like 5 minute, I find to be very constructive. But the modern trend is to play faster and faster. Originally like 3 minutes, and then people started playing even faster than that. So it's gotten to the point where the standard is just getting faster and faster and faster. And as I said, like with my student yesterday reviewing his games, 99% of them were just really horrible. And I just think that's kind of like not really a great use of time. If the quality of the games you're playing is just awful, what are you really getting out of it? Getting used to patterns. Okay, you can practice the openings a little bit. But if you're a weaker player, under 1800 say, and you're playing 3 minutes against other guys like you know, how much opening practice are you going to get in? I mean, are these going to be really good openings you're going to play? Because the other player is probably not going to be able to play really good moves either. So as far as quality of opening practice or something like that, it's not going to be very good. I understand it's addictive and fun to play super fast chess, but there's got to be some sort of control. Like 1 and 2 minutes for absolute beginners, I think is very destructive. You can practice your tactics, it's true. That's the only real benefit, but it just seems to be outweighed by all the negatives of playing too much super fast chess. If you have time, I would play 5 minute, you know, that would probably be the best. Even 5 minute with increment, something like this, like 5-3. And ideally, the best time control to play would be even longer. I'm just trading pieces down now. We have a clear pawn up, plus a better structure. Although, I just suddenly became a little bit concerned about... I became a little concerned about the position of my king here. We may have a small problem. I have to be really, really careful. He has threats here. Rook c6 check. Rook c6 check, king d2. He's 1852 in classical, 1400 bullet, and 1500 blitz. It was risky of me to castle queenside, I guess. That's safe to say. I'm still winning here, but I need to be really careful. Maybe a3 is worth playing. Just concretely stopping knight b4. I mean, it's all based on the fact that I have rook c6 check, king b1, bishop f5 check, bishop d3. Otherwise I would be lost, probably, in this position. That's why I was spending so much time to calculate this. Generally speaking, I should castle kingside, but I was a little bit afraid of the open file. So I thought, well, he's not in such a good situation to attack me on the queen side, but he found a way here, or I let him find a way with rook d6 and this stuff. So I'm a little bit scared, but probably white's all right here. Sideshow Bob says 5 + 3 is my absolute minimum. I don't know if b2 g4 is I assume he's listening to the stream, but there's a little bit of a delay. So if he just heard the variation I was talking about, I mean, this kills his threats. That's a dead end for black. It's a nice move, bishop g6. He wants me to fix his pawn structure. I mean, the other option is knight h4. Probably even better for me. We'll chop with a knight on g6 and keep the bishop in what is a semi-open position. It's not that closed as black would like with that strong knight. He heard it too late because of the delay. It was risky for me to castle queenside, admittedly. Now I could just trade bishop for knight here. His knight's awfully strong. But this rook endgame isn't money in the bank. I mean, I guess it should be. But any sort of rook endgame, the rule of thumb is, and the kind of standing joke, all rook endgames are drawn. Perhaps I should play h4 there, activating my h1 rook. I'm beginning to think that my bishop is actually stronger than his knight. So therefore, I'm not going to trade. Not going to trade bishop for knight here, unless I have something to gain by it. Once again, h4 looks really feasible. Putting my pawns on the right color with my bishop, threatening h5 levers. Still, it's not that easy to Blake to Blake black. We're gonna Blake black now. Maybe we need this sort of classical principle of two weaknesses here. Other move is rook e5. Right, and now he's a pawn down with a static weakness. Don't trade rooks, b4, g2. King position. I guess we create a passer in the middle. Central or outside pass pawn for me. I could take and play g4. I was thinking about that, but I mean, everything's winning. This was actually a little bit good D by black, though. He defended this about as well as you can defend it. The decoy, just fast enough. He's pretty fast himself. You should never trade rooks, I mean, into a king and pawn endgame. Really fundamental. Little Magnus, uh-oh, Little Magnus doesn't have any rated games. We're not going to play that. Our old nemesis, Constant Change. Alright, we'll give you a game, man. He's a tough player. He's played the record number of 110. I said that yesterday. Why do I think that? 104 games we've played. Let's make it 105. 105. If he's here. If he's not, play with someone else. King Chaser is up next. He maybe has internet problems. Okay, 3.2 is okay. 3 plus 2. We were talking about what time controls are useful. I mean, to be perfectly honest, not okay, but 3 plus 2 is sort of like 5-0, approximately. It's the official FIDE blitz time control. You can make an argument that 3 plus 2 is equivalent to 5 plus 0. I don't know. Constant Change isn't here. So we'll play the last game against King Chaser. King Chaser, I think he's from Israel. He's usually here late when I stream. He's like one of the last challengers always. And I guess he's a late riser. Sometimes he's here, sometimes he's not. So we'll not play 105th game with Constant Change. We'll save that for Monday, I guess. Guys, but 3 plus 2 could be a reasonable time control. King Chaser playing knight takes e4 here. This is a really rare move. Never remember facing this. Because of that, we can extrapolate that it's not a good move, since I've played this position a million times. But how bad is it? The critical question. Bishop takes f7 check, king takes f7, knight takes e4. Looks like black has the bishop pair and central pawns. Somewhat exposed king, but the safest way for white to play this, I guess, is knight takes knight, d5, and then we have a trick here. No, I'm having hallucinations. That's the problem. I'm actually starting to have hallucinations. Knight takes knight, d5. And what's my move? Don't see anything. I don't see anything really convincing there. Well, my first reaction was like knight takes knight, d5, bishop d3, takes, bishop takes. But that looks really lame. I mean, black's okay there. So bishop takes f7. There's also bishop takes f7, king takes f7, queen h5 check. Maybe that's the move. g6, queen d5 check, king g7. Alright, man, I don't know. I don't know, man. Should I even bother with queen h5 check? Maybe that move like helps him somehow. Queen h5 check, g6, queen d5 check, e6, queen takes e4. Doesn't seem all that great. I'm just gonna play simple chess, I guess. I don't know. What's the deal with this? Weird. If bishop d2, queen e5 forks my pieces, so maybe I have to play c3. Oh man, I'm having weird hallucinations. I guess I've been streaming too long today. Another hallucination. What is with the weird hallucinations? I don't know. Interesting line, King Chaser. We'll have to analyze this. It looks like I'm gonna have to play like queen e2. Well, depending on what he does here. I think we can assume that white is okay in this position, but I'm not sure I reacted the best. His idea is to play queen e5. But queen f3, the problem with queen f3 was knight f6, you know. If I ever try to do queen f3, he's just going back to f6 with a knight and messing with me. So it is interesting that I've never actually run into this knight takes e4 move in a game that I can recall. It's like a tricky line to play in blitz, just the kind of thing you might want to try. But knight c6 looks risky. I was expecting queen e5, which might almost trade queens by force. Well, maybe not. Alright, let's just think optimistically. I think we have a good game. Knight g5 check. Now, obviously, my king is safer, and he has a sort of bad bishop on f8 at the moment. Sort of bad. Definitive lingo. Queen f3, knight takes d4, knight takes c6. I mean, I'm not in love with knight takes c6. I guess we can just castle. I just don't see anything convincing here. I was going to take with the queen, I guess. It's a good position for that piece. And h6. We have queen h4. Doesn't really do anything. I guess we should just stay centralized. Black's position is playable. I think his only issue, you know, he has two issues: the bad bishop and the king. But it's not like he's losing by force. Just kind of a bit awkward to play, I guess. I feel a little weird about playing rook e1. You know, maybe later on it's going to be a problem with my f-pawn. Probably not. Let's see. Bishop f4 would be nice. But he's got e5, unfortunately. Bishop e3. Man, this is a pretty amazing game by Black. I like the way he's walking the king over. This is something I've done in the Richter Rouser on occasion. walking the king to the queen side, sometimes necessary. Unfortunately, I wanted to play bishop f4, but I didn't have an answer for e5. It looked like I just lose a piece. I mean, what can be done? Bishop e3. This is not really a good coordinated situation. So b4, c4, c4 right away. Getting some control of the center. The Marazzi. I could have played b4. I'm not sure. Might have been better. But of course I have this idea. There's a pinch point here. Watch your fingers in the door. That's a good analogy for the move c5. I also thought about the knight dropping back here, you know, having a happy future. But structurally, if we treat the position like a Marazzi bind, c4 works pretty well, killing these bishops. The golden thing here is to probably avoid a trade of queens, unless you have a really, really good endgame, and try to punish his king in the center. There was a knight takes d6 cheapo. It's just hard for black to get coordinated. You know, obviously he can't move this. It needs moving this is weakening the d6 pawn. His king is a question mark. So e5 looks like a pretty damn logical move to me. Pardon my French. I mean, c5 is still an option, but I don't think it's as effective now. You know, obviously he'd consider like bishop f5. I'm surprised by this move, but it might be a good move. Bishop e6. Okay, whatever. The rook wasn't doing anything there anyway. The d5 square in the Sicilian, the other d5 square, please, thank you. I gotta get that assistant to stop clicking on the wrong squares. King Chaser putting together kind of tough display of gumption. Oh, man, I mean f3, really? Did I do that? He obviously, you know, should have taken on d5. No, interesting game, man. We've got to finish the stream now. But what's cool is this opening. I've never faced this before. Excuse me. Okay, so it's sort of it's like a swindle. It's a bluff, basically. Knight takes e4 is a bluff. I guess I messed up. Bishop takes f7, not the best. Queen h5 right away, which I didn't think of. Probably very nearly refutes it out of hand. Now you know. g6, queen d5, ouch. So d5 is forced. And then you have to do bishop takes d5, g6. I mean, knight d6, just losing a pawn. And then queen f3. Weird line. This is actually a little bit strange. I wonder if this has ever been played. I'll have to check the ChessBase database. I mean, no masters have played it, but funky stuff. The other line, though, taking here right away, and then d5, I wasn't real convinced by. Apparently, I have bishop f4. Weird. Bishop f4. Connect 4. It didn't occur to me. And the idea is knight. The idea is queen e2. Well, that's psychotic. Who would actually analyze all this stuff? This is totally random. So I did like bishop takes f7, the worst of the three. But they're all good. It's all good. Queen a5 check, apparently best move. Now I could play knight back to c3, c3. I guess what I did is okay, but it's not quite the best. Castles. This move may have helped him a little bit. Perhaps g8. I would have gone to g8. King chaser. But you maybe know what you're doing. I don't know. The engine prefers both. The engine doesn't know what it's doing. King e8. Castles. And we're slightly better. Trying to trade queens does make sense, but it's not a very pleasant endgame for black. Alright guys, we're going to end the stream here. Interesting bluff line there by King Chaser. We'll be back tomorrow with, not tomorrow, excuse me, we'll be back Sunday with the simul, 6:30 p.m., 25 players, and 40 plus 40 time control. So it takes about 3 hours, 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. Central European Summertime. Simul here on lichess. Please be here if you can. It's a good chance to play a quality game. Take your time and play a really high quality game if you can against me on Sunday. So again, thanks Blue Crow for moderating. Thanks everybody for watching. Also check out my YouTube channel. I've got to put up a new video today on the YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. Thanks to everybody who's given donations to our stream and YouTube channel via PayPal. And if you can, spare $5 or $10, even once a year. It's awesome to help support my efforts and keep this instructional stream and YouTube channel going. Anyway, guys, ciao. We'll see you tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Sunday. I'll see you Sunday. Okay, guys. Bye-bye.